Hi, we're here today with the extra small Aviator Kit Bag. For Red Oxx, this is the bag that started it all. It's a great way to teach somebody how to make something. You know, as parachute riggers, we all went to school, and one of the first things we learned how to build was this. We used to jokingly call these our war bags, which meant it's what we took out on the weekends. So you'd have a change of clothes in here, we'd just grab it and go. The reason for this whole maker series is I want to show people how we make our bags and how we make them right. If you wanted to make the bag yourself, go right ahead. But I think showing how we do things and do them right, it's like made right or not at all. And a way you can cut corners would be something like this. You would just cut the webbing here, and stitch just a handle loop on. We've all owned bags like that where there's no support in the bag. Well, as you can see, this webbing comes all the way around the bag and around the bottom and up the other side, which prevents the handles from tearing away. Double stitching the seams, finish taping, all those little steps we're going to take you through to show you how well we make bags and why we don't cut corners. And we want everybody to have things that last forever, even if you have to make it yourself, because that's what we do.
Nice bag.
I thought you'd like that.
That's different.
So the parts of the bag are, there's the main panel, the zipper section, the D-rings, the webbing that the D-rings are attached with, the hand clasp and the handle webbing, 2 zipper pulls, and you've got some blocking webbing for blocking your zippers. It's a pretty simple bag as bags go. First step, let's cut this sucker out with the laser. This is kind of cool, but you can obviously do this with a pair of shears at home. So Vicky is now marking the handles. The handles are equidistant, so there's a parallel lines that you have to place on the thing, and that shows them where to lay the webbing down and stitch it on.
We have automatic marks for labels, for our line designation, as well as any hardware we're going to add. All right, so we have our classic Red Oxx oval that'll go on our notch mark.
So this label, the indexing mark, was put on by the laser, which helps for the positioning of the label, which speeds up the process. Same thing goes here for the webbing. They index that with the laser as well, and so that shows where to stop it, tuck in the webbing, and then stitch it down, and then eventually they come along and do the computer stitching right there.
A hand clasp will go on there to tie up your handles.
You know, not all hand clasps are created equally. In the early days, we did a lot of repair on bags that we didn't actually manufacture. And so a redundant failure point that I saw was the hand clasps. So we started making our own hand clasps instead of buying them pre-built. It's 1,000-weight Cordura nylon, stainless steel snaps. It's actually built inside out and then it's top stitched together. So it's quite the robust hand clasp. We tack it on here. It's made not to fail.
And then a custom patch if you so desire.
As you can see with this bag, it's uniquely in 2 colors. Typically we will make a bag in a primary color with a black accent zipper. That way the zippers are interchangeable. But for this client, we're doing a corporate piece, so we went blue and gold, which are Navy colors. The USS Billings. USS Billings is a littoral combat ship which was commissioned a few years ago. Perry and I went down to the commissioning in Key West and got to meet the sailors. Every so often they come up here and bring a crew. We walk them through the factory, show them things. You know, Perry spent 11 years in the Navy as a PR, parachute rigger, and worked on carriers, had over 4 years of sea time. So the old sailor loves to hang out with those squids. As a Marine, I can't really relate. All right, here we are cutting and marking the webbing for where the handles go and attach to the bag. That machine will cut the webbing for the D-rings on the side as well. And now we're going to sew on some patches, and you can have your patches from your travels collection if you're building your own bag at home. And make sure you clip those threads. Make sure you get all those threads cleaned up. Now that we have the label on, let's sew the handles on. The first step is to make sure you follow your lines and keep them parallel. And the attachment points are set by the gapping on the handles. So you want to come across here, come across there, and to make those balance the bag. So both handle loops are identical length, like so. Here you see the overlap of the handles at the bottom of the bag. That way you seal up you don't just have them touching with a butt joint, it's a lap joint. So it's not flexing right there, and you only have to stitch it once. And finish the stitching on the handle. Right now we're sewing down where the hand clasp will attach and the other handle. As you can see right here, the stitching blocks this off, so when you lay this inside the hand clasp and roll the hand clasp over, everything tidies right up. And it kind of gives it a double feel and a nice hand. In my right hand, there's a fold over here, comes down, stitches across and back, which locks this up and makes it so it doesn't open up anymore. And there's done on both sides, but this side has the hand clasp attached to it. Then this one is supposed to lay directly on top of that one. You fold the hand clasp down like so, and then snap it up. Like 1, 2, boom. Now we're going to do the zipper. Here's the blind stitch going into the zipper. You'll notice you only see one line of stitching here, because when that first step there, we actually do what's called a blind stitch. So when you get inside of the bag, there's a second layer. And that's a redundant failure point. It's one of those things you learn as a parachute rigger. So if you break the first stitch, you got another one coming to back you up. Now we're going to install the zipper slides, and they go on from the end and they meet in the middle. This bag has 2 zipper slides. One opens this way, one opens that way. So the 2 zippers come together to close the bag rather than just one giant zipper that kind of peels around that way. So having that extra zipper pull is nice because it kind of brings it together, and then you don't have to like pull the bag all the way closed or all the way open. Next step, we're putting on the webbing for the shoulder strap. So that goes stitches in here, comes up, goes over around and back down. And then we use a 1-inch D-ring on this bag. And there's one on both sides. And they're actually cross-mounted. See, they're at angles to each other. Because if you put it on one side, the bag will want to tilt this way. So anyway, that's how we do the kit bags. Next up, we do a blocking of the zipper. So we use a big piece of webbing right here to keep that zipper backing so the zipper doesn't pull loose out of the seam. And that's one of the other key features of a really good build. You want to have like a nice blocking here instead of just sewing right into the seam, which is a shortcut. Next step is to hot cut the webbing, and that's crucial when you don't want things to unravel, so you always want to hot cut and sear your webbing when you're using nylon or polypropylene. Next up is the double box X stitch. We're using a computer stitching machine. Some of the first machines ever brought into Montana were by Red Oxx. And if you look at this, it's 2 X's, which happens to spell the double X on Red Oxx, double strong. And you'll find it here, and at the handle points, here and here, and even here on the bottom. It's redundant failure point to the max. as you see that we're getting ready to put the bag together here, knowing that all the linear inches for the zipper panel and the main panel are identical. So they have to add up to the same amount, meaning if there's 65 linear inches on this panel, there has to be 65 linear inches on this panel, and when they come together, they meet perfectly. Next, as we're stitching the bag together, you'll see that we started in the middle there at the indexing points. An indexing point is what you're shooting for. As you're bringing the panels together, you want the two little notches to line up. So as you're coming together with your sewing, this notch will be here, and you'll see it maybe as you're coming down the line from the corner, trying to be like, oh, I need to tighten up on the top, tighten up on the bottom. So you'd pull the yellow or the blue a little bit, and this is a skill that you learn over time. There's an indexing point on the zipper panel here in the middle, and there's also one on the blue panel here in the middle of this section. When you line those two up and you start to move around the zipper panel over and you're stitching the bag together, there's another one here, and another one here, and another one here. So those 4 indexing points help keep the bag from becoming distorted, because it could turn into a parallelogram. Yeah, you know, then you would have like this weird shaped bag that was, sure, it all went together, but it would look and feel not right. Okay, that's the first step in the finishing process. The second step will be to put the binding tape on and do another set of stitching. This will lay down and put the binding on the bag and double stitch it. So again, a redundant failure point. You start to rip the main seam, you've got the second line of stitching to hold that bag together. Here we go, we're going down the side here. She'll make the turn, coming around. This is all one continuous piece of binding that's overlapped at the end. The great ways to tell a bag's quality is actually to look inside of a bag. When you come inside of the bag, you see like how well it's put together. You can see the double box X stitching, the binding tape, the blind stitch on the zippers that you didn't see before. If you look closely here, you see that other line of stitching. You don't see that from the top, the part that faces you and the public, but you know, knowing inside that you've got that extra stitch there, just in case that was to snag and pop on something or be cut accidentally, you've got that protected blind stitch. This is a step that I've never seen bag companies do before. It's the hard way. So on the outside you don't see the edging, so here's our binding tape that comes around. And again, you see this on some products, but you know, ours is just, you know, again, same high quality thread that we use for the build the rest of the bag is used on the binding as well. We're not cutting corners. Technically, the bag is complete except for quality control and turnout. First thing you have to do is now turn the bag right side out. And she'll push out the corners with her little stick there. Start inspecting things, clip a few threads. Check the stitch tightness. She has a little set of tweezers here. She'll tighten stuff up if it looks like it might have a loop in it. There, she's using a lighter to kind of tighten things back up. Coming again, checking all those threads. Got a little bit of rubbing alcohol here to make off any indexing marks.
Zip knots.
Boom. Now we're putting on some Monkey's Fist zip knot pulls, which are a Red Oxx exclusive. A luggage tag. A dog tag. Snap the hand clasp, make sure the hardware is good.
And she's done.
I still have my little kit bag that I made in rigger school all those years ago, and we still make these bags in our factory practically every day. So whether you buy one or build one, This is a bag that will serve you the rest of your life.